Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we got a game in the Wichita Bapley. I got a dispersion build and concealment build on that puppy. So survivability, Wichita, great ship to be grinding out credits. Anyone who got this campaign ship, I don't know, probably a year and a half ago, knows it's a quick firing ship, so you get a lot of points for actual hits with the main guns. Damage potential, very nice. Survivability, tough to sink the Wichita, very hard to find that citadel. Can be whacked around, but you want to be shooting this thing every chance you get. Lest it stay alive the whole match and snatch a win from you at the last second. Where we might see that here in this particular game. Estuary, we're on the D flank here. I don't think we have a destroyer. It looks like one destroyer per side. So we got a cruiser, New Orleans, and the battleship North Carolina. So we'll see what we can do over here. We want to be keeping an eye on the caps when they're deploying, see which ones begins to get captured quickest by red, rather. That usually indicates the destroyers in the area, and we want to be keeping a close eye on that as we go forward. So we're not going to get any spotting here. Cruisers behind the island with me, that's fine, I don't blame them. And battleship, a lot of times when we don't have a destroyer, we're going to be relying on the battleship to spot. Now how the battleship typically spots is it gets spotted by the enemy, some of the enemies shoot, and if the battleship has line of sight from those guys, then they'll be spotted from there. If you have the cruisers behind cover at that point in time, they can chime in with the guns and help the battleship win. That's ideal. That's in a perfect world. A lot of times it's not going to happen. So we're coming over here, taking our chances, and we're going to wind up running into a 3v2 situation. We got Iowa pushing over here. We knew about the Iowa. And what else do we got? Well, we're going to have Siegfried. Mixed feelings on that ship. I don't like playing the Siegfried, but I always don't like playing against it either. I think the people that play Siegfried a lot usually can squeeze some pretty effective games out of it. I played it earlier today and I couldn't hit anything with it, so back to the drawing board with the Siegfried for me. Anyways, we're getting out of there. We're not pushing forward. They do have the Champagne behind them as well. Now, Champagne, usually lunar-based. We see that thing flying around in outer space most of the time, but this one's pushing forward, trying to get a flanking position on top of the Iowa. So behooves us to get the heck out of here, right? Champagne, Iowa, Siegfried shooting at us. We're not going to last very long. Trying to get behind this island that we started sailing towards here. It's on the right hand side of the screen. Limit the amount of these ships. And right now we got the Iowa blocked. We got the Siegfried blocked. Champagne, he looks like he's probably the one targeting us. We'll go ahead and take some shots at him. Continue to try and close back in on that island. Now they are pressuring the Cap D. I think it's both the Siegfried and Iowa are touching at the moment here. So we did get A, and we are generating some revenue there. You can see we're up to an 8-point lead so far. So it's beginning to work, but we want some time for this point advantage in the background to accumulate. So if they get D quickly, then they neutralize that, and it goes back to even scoring. So we're going to try and shut that down. Now, Iowa close range to any cruiser, that's a dangerous proposition. That's not something we're looking forward to. We see him coming around here. And we're going to try and turn away from him before he comes around the bend here, ideally. I'd like to be sailing away from him, not towards him. Go ahead and get some HE loaded up there, and then as soon as that's gone, the AP comes out. We're going to try and hit the weaker parts of the ship. Maybe the nose, maybe the superstructure. We'll see what he does. Maybe there'll be some torps coming his way that he's got to angle against. But we're going to try and get some damage on the ship, thinking, okay, well, we might be in trouble here. In fact, there's a pretty good chance that we die, but we'll see what we can do in the meantime. Getting some decent shots. Sure, we're getting some damage, getting some resets. It's all good. Iowa's guns pointing this way. That's scary. We're going to see if we can knock out his guns by shooting below the turrets, but the Roma, with a vicious shot, takes the Iowa off the board there, and that saves us, because the Iowa's definitely getting sick and tired of our quick-firing guns peppering away at them and kind of chipping them down. So Siegfried's low here. Like to get that ship off the board as well. Ooh, we rammed the Roma after he bails us out. Sorry about that. No harm, no foul, though. The Siegfried playing a little bit on the border. And starting to think, okay, well, Red's pushing into A now. Looks like it's probably about a 5v4 over there, so it's not horrible in terms of ship count yet. But we got to take note that the advantage that we had, the 2v1 in terms of caps, that's currently on pause. It's now back to 1v1, so I'm thinking, all right, well, if we get Siegfried down, and then the Champagne, he's still close to D, but he's starting to head off, right? He's beginning to feel the heat over here. He's, okay, we're going to be 1v3, 1v4, 1v5, whatever it is. He wants to get out of there. So keeping an eye on the map here, we need to be saying to ourselves, okay, now's the time we can get on D. Hopefully some teammates will get on there as well. We'll capture capture the cap quickly, and then we'll resume gaining the lead in the background, because we are up a ship here, but you can see we're only up 140, so 40 of that is from the scoring that we accrued earlier, and then 100 of it was from the ship that was the battleship versus the whatever else. So doing pretty good so far. Once again, we need to get this side resolved as quickly as possible, and the team over here is doing pretty good. We're all pushing in, attacking these ships. We want to, whenever we got the numerical advantage, we talk about this a lot, push, get your stuff done over here, and then move into the other side to help support. Okay, then we're starting to hit those guys with 90-degree angle shots, and the damage should pile up. So we'll scare the champagne off here. We get to take a couple shots. Want to get on the cap. That's all we really care about, though. If the champagne dies, great. Less guns on the board and more points in the pocket. If not, well, we're going to be able to capture D. We still have a firm grip on the home base, and then D will guarantee that at least we're even in the scoring. Because if they do get A, rather than giving them the 2v1 cap advantage, we'd be at a 2v2, and the scoring would be stalemated at that time in terms of background points, which we don't want to ignore. That's how we lose games. So chase him off. We'll let him get outside of our firing range. Champagne does get pretty dangerous at long range. It's got a goofy accuracy model where the further it gets, it seems the more accurate it gets, at least in my experience. But anyway, we got the base secured here, and now we got to be evaluated. Well, what's the next play? All right, we got C and A available, and then we got B and D that need to be defended. Well, in these type of matches where, okay, we heavily overloaded on the east, we started from the north, now we're going to go into their base C, more or less, right? So they're going to probably be doing roughly the same thing. They got C to start with, they captured A, and now they're likely to continue to cycle through into B. There is a Vlad over there. We'll see him in a minute face off against a couple ships. But I'm thinking, okay, well, we can't really push into C. They got battleships over there. We're a cruiser. Battleships kill cruisers. We got a destroyer on the loose. He hasn't been spotted for a while, though. He's last seen in the eastern or the western side of the map there on A. And I don't think he'll actually be spotted for the rest of the match. I'm pretty sure it's a Shiratsuyu doing Shiratsuyu and Japanese destroyer things, launching torps every once in a while, and then just being undetected. So I'm thinking, though, if he's actively trying to capture bases, B would be the logical choice for him. Putting a radar cruiser on that would be a hard counter to any attempts to flip the base. So that's the thinking here. You always want to be evaluating whenever, okay, well, I'm doing whatever, right? Previously, we were all fighting D, trying to capture it, clear that side. We did it. Don't continue just sailing off or chasing the ship that you see that's closest to you. Take a moment, take a look at the map, evaluate, and be like, okay, what's likely to happen here? What's most likely the highest impact play that I can make safely? Let's go pursue that. So always be taking a little bit of a time to evaluate the game, and you need to do that throughout, because what needs to be done will change as the game develops. So we're tied up in ships here now. Got about a 60-point lead, and let's see, looks like we got about 30 points leads in terms of ships. So the 40-point lead is from the cap advantage that we had briefly. So it's a tight game. 60 points means anyone on our team can die, and the lead will flip, right? Destroyers are worth 75-point swings, 80 points for cruisers, and 100 for battleships, 110 for carriers, if you're interested. So that's the kind of the math that we need to keep in mind here. New Orleans gets a broadside shot on us here. He's got the HE loaded. Luckily, could have been a lot worse if the AP's in there. So we got to keep an eye on him. We're going to try and angle away from him by pointing north. We still want to get this Atlanta off. Number one is a radar. Now we don't have destroyers, but sure, the radar can still be helpful. But the Atlanta, Golden Shower's king, high damage output potential, and he's withering down the battleship, the Vlad that's been over there trying to hold this side off. So we're going to try and get him off, clear this side out, and then we'll go reevaluate once again, because this is kind of one of the segments of the game. Okay, we cleared the north threat, at least perceivably, or what we can see right now. That seems to be the case. They will have a Duke of York. Poke around here briefly, though, and you'll note we do have the twist and track on this build. It's some cruiser build commanders. Actually, we'll have I think it's a slot 2 perk that mainly affects the radar and sonar duration, but as a bonus, we got the twist and track. So that kind of gave us a heads up that something's coming over here. Duke comes around. Oh god, we need to angle away from him, immediately begin turning. Sure, we'll start shooting. Oh boy, AP. That could have been dangerous. Duke of York. A lot of the British battleships, they'll only shoot HE, but AP is deadly against the cruisers. So looks like he's doing a pretty good job actively switching the shells. Or he just happened to have AP loaded, whatever it is. But that was pretty dicey. Luckily, we got away with it. And what are we doing here? We're still down. We're still got our 60-point lead, roughly. Our ship is threatening C. However, 5 ships red, 3 ships blue. And at this rate, if we keep weathering these Duke of York shots, might be down to 2 ships on blue. So how are we going to do this? Now, the Duke has effectively pinned me from going back into the center of the map, which is where I generally like to be, especially as the game goes on. But we need to be sailing away from him, protecting ourselves. That's limiting the options that we have. So, can we single-handedly kill a Duke of York? Yes. Is it going to take the rest of the game? Perhaps. Yes, it's very likely. We're down to 2 ships. Oh no, we're in trouble. So far, no major damage from the Duke, but he's zeroing in on there, practicing the aim. And sooner or later, we're going to get some vicious shots. So, New Orleans, he's also within our range, but he is hiding behind an island. Oh, and there's a wicked shot there. A vicious shot. And the Wichita is hurt after that one. So, now we got to be real careful here. Again, just trying to get him burned down. Killed. We'd like to have him killed, yes, because we now need 170 points. That's a battleship and a cruiser. Battleship and destroyer, or 2 battleships. We need 2 ships at this point in time. Continues to harm their scoring in the background by being on sea. That's great. But when we're thinking about this, okay, we have multiple ships that can be shooting him. He's at a 1v2, 1v3, potentially 1v4. We can't really be sure from this position. So when we're evaluating, okay, what needs to be done, we have to account for that battleship dying, right? And that's another 100 points. So at this point in time, the game's not looking good. In fact, it's looking relatively unwinnable unless the Roma plays exceptionally well and manages to stay alive against 2 battleships. Now he's got 1 spotted, 1 fighting him. The other grade on 1 might be behind an island shooting. He might be just kind of goofing off at the edge of the map. We don't know. But this is where a series of mistakes by red, who are going to be attempting to win harder rather than just win the game. They already have the game won, right? They have 170 points or whatever, currently in the lead. But we're going to see some critical mistakes that you often see at the end of the match, especially when your team has a big ship lead. They think they're immune. They don't look at the HP of the ships. Okay, if you got 5 ships, but they're all 1 or 2 shots away from death, and the other team's got 1 full health battleship, 2 full health battleships, whatever they are, half health Wichita and a 3/4 health Roma in this case, well, you got to factor that in. So I always like to lock my guns, scan the enemy team, the ships individually, scan my friendly teams. That'll give you the best feel for where you actually are. New Orleans pops in. Okay, he's trying to flank the Roma and get a little bit of damage piling onto his score here. He's already got the game won, right? Oops, well, now he's in range of the Wichita, and Wichita's got quick firing guns, HE, and by the way, we can hit these shots, so it's not going to be an issue here. New Orleans is in trouble, and that's going to be 80 points. If we can get it, that'll put us at about 50 points down, 60 points down, somewhere in there. So first glaring mistake, New Orleans. If I'm a 1 shot, I need to stay behind the island and maybe do some damage, maybe not, but we don't want to be giving away those points and removing those guns off the board. So whatever the reasoning was there, I'm pinging the champagne. Come on, there's that 100-point swing, and we would be in the lead there. And that's still me under the assumption that the Roma is going down. Now, the Roma's performing very well here. He's still got half his health. He's pretty close to whatever he's by there, though, so it's making me pretty nervous. And then here comes the Duke of York again. Not content to just sit the rest of the game out here. He's saying to himself, man, I got that cruiser pretty good a couple times. Why not try it again? Immediately, we stop going where we were, angle back in. We should probably be going towards the center as opposed to towards that ship anyways, but I'm looking around trying to find points, right? Thinking we're going to need to probably sink at least 1 more ship, and now we're down to under a minute. Can we kill Duke of York with 30,000 in under a minute? That's going to be tough, especially if he's shooting back at us, and especially if he's hitting us for 10k per salvo. That ain't going to work. So, well, all right. What else is our other option? Roma, he's looking good. He's fending off of Colorado. I guess that's the other battleship. Been fending off the Champagne, who's not currently spotted. And I think he's also putting some shots towards this Duke of York periodically. So he's doing well. But Champagne, where the hell have you been? And why the hell are you here now with your 1,000 points? Roma misses them. Should have been his kill, but that's fine. We're not going to miss the shot here. We're going to go ahead and snatch the lead right there. And now we're up by 60 points. Can the Roma survive? Can the Wichita survive? I'm not spotted. So as long as that destroyer who's been off into Timbuktu torping stuff and doing whatever else for the rest of the game, if he doesn't spot us and we don't get shot very quickly, well, we just won the game, all right? But we didn't really win that. That was more of a series of throws by the red team we just capitalized on. So that's a look at the Wichita for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.